but we are going to talk about the royals, talk more about Prince Andrew. Philip Ingram's still with me. He's a former senior military intelligence officer. Must just get up to date on all the different people coming out, putting their tuppence worth in onto Jim Ratcliffe. We've had Rachel Reeves in the last few moments say she's horrified. Horrified. Oh. I don't remember her saying she was horrified about like Mandelson's appointment.
Oh, of course.
A mate of a paedophile is appointed to the most senior roles in government, and I don't remember her using the word horrified, but she's horrified that a top British businessman has said that we're being colonised by immigrants. That's what she's horrified about.
Or Lord Doyle being appointed.
Lord Doyle, yeah. The Green Party has said they're sickened by his comments. I mean, this is off. Andy Burnham, bearing in mind, of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not just the boss of Ineos, he's also the co-owner of Manchester United Football Club. But the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has said these comments go against everything for which Manchester has traditionally stood, a place where people of all races, faiths and none have pulled together over centuries to build our city and our institutions, including Man United FC. Calling for curbs on levels of immigration is one thing. Portraying those who come here as a hostile invading force is quite another. It is inaccurate, insulting, inflammatory and should be withdrawn. Oh, it's all going off.
Hostile invading forces. We've got more individuals that have come across in little boats invading across our beaches than we have in the whole of the British military.
But that is a conversation about illegal migration, and I don't think that was what Jim Ratcliffe was talking about. I think he was talking about legal migration and government authorised, both Labour, then the Tories, and now Labour again, authorised mass, let's face it, pretty much uncontrolled immigration to our country from people who have no intention of contributing, being net contributors. Sorry, look, you know, my aunt was in a care home. I've met loads of care workers. They're wonderful, lovely people, but they're not economically net contributors to the country. I'm sorry. People working as cleaners in hospitals also are not economic contributors. They're doing very useful work. We should have plenty of Brits doing that work. We've got plenty of unemployed people who should be doing that work. We shouldn't have to import people in to do it. That's not the point. They're not actually net contributors. But an awful lot of people who don't speak the language, you're bringing in 3 or 4 dependents, your wife, your kids. You're not going to be contributing to this country. And if you're not speaking the language, you are not integrating, you're living in an entire ghetto, you are effectively setting up a country within a country.
See, I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe was including illegal immigration in that as well.
Maybe,
and they're coming across, and most of them are then just been given citizenship. And these are fighting age young men that are coming in who have got a view of...
They're not being given citizenship yet. They'll be given the right, the right to say, which is slightly different. They'll get the vote. Eventually they'll get the vote as well.
But they're changing the culture because they're coming in big numbers into small villages and elsewhere, small towns, and they're changing the culture in those towns. That is, in effect, colonisation.
It's fascinating. When people say they're horrified and sickened, you go, oh, there's something else going on here. Well, no, let's return to the issue of what I did want to talk about in this segment, which is the latest on the Epstein files. We've got a lot of pressure on the Prime Minister over Mandelson. We've got an ongoing police investigation there over possibly leaked documents. We've got an investigation into Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor when he was UK trade envoy, whether it appeared to be the case from the Epstein files had leaked documents. But there's also this ongoing issue about his relations or not with women who'd been trafficked by his big mate, Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it's emerged on the front page of the paper today that we knew there'd been this payoff to Virginia Giuffre. We didn't know the exact number, but we had an idea. These things get out. She sadly is now, his sex accuser, is now dead, has taken her own life. But £12 million was loaned in total to Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, we're told. The late Queen Elizabeth said to have given £7 million for the 2022 settlement, another £3 million coming from Prince Philip's estate a year after his death, and £1.5 million paid by the then Prince Charles, now King Charles, with other royals also extraordinarily chipping in to stop the sex abuse case. Andrew, we are told by our source, has not paid back a penny. He planned to flog his Swiss ski chalet to repay, but he made next to nothing on the sale. But basically, he got a heavy mortgage debt apparently on that. He borrowed a whole load of money. There's going to be big questions now about the king and his decision to help lend money to his brother to basically pay off someone accusing him of something, of being basically a party to a crime. She was 17, she was legal, it wasn't like she was a child, legally in British law, but there's going to be question marks about King Charles's decision to do that.
Well, if there are question marks, there should be more question marks about Keir Starmer. You know, because the king can use the same defence. I asked my brother, and he gave me this, and he didn't tell me the complete truth. And we've got an intern. You know,
no one gives £1.5 million quid.
We've got a different. Well,
we know what it was for. We know what the money was for.
We know
what it was for.
We've got an internal.
Going to pay off this woman who's accusing me of a crime.
But again, this is deflecting from the bigger issue, I think. Here, you know, we've got an internal family issue where there's a family debt has been accrued, whether it be £10,000, £100,000, 10 million quid. You're just talking an extra naught and numbers in there. To poor people out there like all of us, the numbers are eye-watering. But the bigger issue here is Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor leaking confidential financial information to Jeffrey Epstein so that he can make money out of it, and therefore the link in that, and the potential criminality there is with her, and then the criminality of what Epstein was doing with underage girls and other girls.
But I'm sorry, this isn't a private family matter, okay? Because, for instance, Ronaldo wanting to stay married to Lord Mandelson when he was mates with Epstein, that's between them. He is not a public figure. The king, the head of state of this country, at the time the man who we knew would be the head of state of this country, along with the then head of state, giving money to a man who'd been accused of a crime to basically prevent him from having to go and testify and give evidence. When they say their concern is with, and we've had statements from William and Kate, statements from the King and Queen saying their concerns are with the victims of Epstein. Well, one of those victims, is anyone seriously doubting that Virginia Giuffre was telling the truth? I don't think anyone is. I don't think that you pay. I think we're looking at 10 million and 2 million in legal fees there. I don't think you pay someone that much money when you genuinely have not met them. That photograph he claimed was not true. We know from the Epstein files was definitely true, and we knew it all along anyway.
Here's the thing. Said it's true.
They knew what they were paying the money for, and it was about protecting the firm. They did not want Andrew, after that disastrous Newsnight interview, to go and testify in the United States. They knew that God knows what was going to come out, and they knew that because information had been going up from security people, from his royal detail, going all the way up to the top of the palace about what he'd been up to, what he'd been doing, and with who and where, and they knew it all. This is possibly a huge cover-up. There are people talking about how this could bring down the British monarchy. This is a public family, not a private family. Money was used to basically pay off an accuser. That does not say you're looking after the victims to me.
No. Public money was not used.
They're a public family.
But public money was not used, and we have to be very correct in this. And you are very careful about what is correct and what isn't correct. This was private money.
Doesn't matter.
They're all family. I think the king has realised just how much his brother has screwed him over. And is therefore punishing him in a way that only traitors have been punished with beforehand.
I've not met anybody who's been close to anything that's going on in the Royals who doesn't think that they would have had very good information about what was actually going on. I'm sorry, the Royal Protection Officers would have seen and heard everything. I think this one. I don't think this one is going away, and I'm sadly not for the King included.